Hello statistics students, this is Mr. Grazzato and this is a short video about today's class. So if you look at problem number 1, or this problem on the screen, in green, what would you predict the number of fat grams to be if there are 30 grams of protein? So if you look at the top of the screen, we have the equation. Some people like to do fat hat equals 6.8 plus 0.97 times protein. Other people use the variables x and y. And so the idea here is you're going to plug in 30 for the value of x. And when you do that, you will get 35.9. So the predicted value when you plug in 30, and I'm going to call that y hat, is 35.9. If you look at the graph, when x is 30, the predicted value, that means this point here in green, is 35.9. The learning target today was to calculate the residual. The definition of a residual is it's the actual value minus the predicted value. In symbols, the residual is y minus y hat. So if you look at the problem at the bottom of the screen, a burger with 30 grams of protein actually had 25 grams of fat. That means the point is 30, 25. If you look at the graph, the green dot is the predicted value, that's your 35.9, and the red dot is the actual value. So this point here is 30, 25. If we want to calculate the residual is the actual value minus the predicted value. In this case, the actual value is the 25, it's this y value, and our predicted value is 35.9. We did that in the previous problem, and when you do the math, you get negative 10.9. Notice that point is below the least squares regression line. That is why it is negative. Let's look at another example. Down at the bottom, a burger with 36 grams of protein actually had 48 grams of fat. What is the residual? So as I mentioned, the residual is the actual minus the predicted. And for those that want formulas, y minus y hat. I'm going to clean up this predicted here. So the actual value is 48, and then we're going to subtract the predicted value. So to get the predicted value, we're going to use the equation. So I'm going to put a parentheses, and I'm going to say 6.8 plus 0.97. And to find the predicted value, we're going to plug in 36. So when you do this on your calculator, you get 48 minus 41.72. And when you finish that, you get 6.28. Notice that residual is positive, which means the point is above the line. So if I were to look at the graph, we're looking at this point here. So this is the point 36.48. And you can see this residual is above the line. So that black segment is the residual. Let's take a look at another example. So in this problem, we're looking at Ford F-150 trucks. And what would you predict the price of a truck to be if it had 100,000 miles on it? So we're going to use that equation. Y hat is 38257 minus 0.1629 times 100,000. And when you type that in, you get 21,967. Let's look at another problem that we did today. In problem number 2 that we did, we want to know the residual if the truck sold for 70,000, or sorry, if the truck had 70,583 miles on it, sold for $21.94. So we're going to go back to the idea that a residual is equal to the actual minus the predicted. So y minus y hat. The actual value is the 21,994, and then we're going to subtract the predicted value. So we're going to use that equation you see over here on the left. So minus 38257 minus 0.1629 times 70,583. Now I wrote that a little small, so I'm going to go to the next screen. So the residual is the actual value, 21,994, minus the predicted value, which I'm highlighting in yellow. And I get that from the regression equation. And I want to plug in the 70,583. When you do the math, you get negative 4765.03, and that point is below the line. So I hope this video summarizes the ideas of a residual from today's class.